is the University of Michigan.
Touchdown, Michigan!
And midcourt, extra pass.
And it goes for the win! The three-pointer by Jordan Poole! Down the sideline! Peoples-Jones! Touchdown, Wolverines!
All right, welcome back to Blue by 90. I'm Justin Rowe. I am joined here by Kaylin and Jack. And it is the Sunday morning after Michigan just got the shit beat out of them by Wisconsin in their own stadium. And the rain was pouring down in the fourth quarter on Jim Harbaugh, and he looked like he wanted to just crawl into a hole and die. And so that was fun to watch. I really enjoyed last night's game. I don't know about you guys, but I am hungover as shit because you had to drink like heavily to watch that football game.
Dude, I had just no adrenaline going, and I couldn't even get drunk if I wanted to. The game was so fucking miserable. I was just sitting there like, this is just god awful. I'm sitting there trying to drink my liquor and get the team going, but I just couldn't get it done. I mean, what a piss poor effort.
Yeah, I made the mistake of drinking too early, and then I was like, all right, I'll take a little break in the first quarter here. So I'm like sipping on a Sprite, and then I'm like, oh gosh, if I start drinking now, it's just gonna be bad.
You know what? Michigan that is where they've crossed the line officially. Where when we can't even get a buzz because of them, that is where I draw the line, honestly. So.
You're ruining my weekend. I can't even get drunk.
Yeah, I mean that's next level. So also, Jack, I want you to apologize to us and to our listeners because I apologize for saying that you had any faith in this football team and program last week. You predicted Michigan to win, and now you just look like an asshole.
You know what? I'll half apologize, okay? Because I am the only person to predict that Wisconsin was going to score in the 40s. The fact that you guys had faith and we're getting my hopes up about this defense is laughable. Is laughable to me. So I'll half apologize for thinking Michigan could score 40. I don't know. Maybe if Cade would have started the game, maybe would have had a shot there. We'll see.
It turns out we're all idiots.
Turns out, like we didn't know that before. I will say, like, yes, Wisconsin scored 49 points, and honestly, if they would have tried in the second half, they could have scored 70 if they wanted to. But they ran out of the clock essentially from the halftime on. I also thought though that this defense, even with giving up that much, like they played better than they did against Indiana and Michigan State, at least in the secondary. The front seven, our linebackers are so fucking bad, man. Josh Ross and Cam McGrone, who we thought were going to be like leaders of this defense going into the season, are so bad. Dax Hill, the safety, led the team in tackles yesterday. How does that happen? And they weren't even passing all over. It wasn't like they were, passing the ball so much that he had to make tackles on that. He's tackling the ball carrier, the running back.
I mean, I feel like it's not even – I'm not even going to say that the linebackers are that bad. I'm not going to say they're great, but we've seen it year in, year out from Don Brown. Over pursuit on defense has killed us every fucking big game. And we saw that last night on the fucking reverses. How many times we get killed in those reverses or wide receiver or the fucking –
jet sweeps
going around the corner, and there's like four guys blocking two dudes. Like, what is going on? I mean, they killed us in the rushing game. It was like 300. They had 341 rushing yards.
There were four guys that had 65 yards or more.
Yes, like you said, the secondary actually did play well. They only let up 127 passing yards. But yeah, it's just a mess on defense.
So in terms of over pursuit too, like I remember one play where they did Wisconsin did like the play action. Bootleg and then kind of let the tight end slip out or fullback slip out. Mm-hmm. And I was watching, so it was Luigi Villain had the edge there, and I don't blame him because his responsibility is to try and get to the quarterback there. But it was him and Josh Ross both bit on the play action, and Josh Ross's responsibility is that tight end. And so the play action went to the other side of the field. Like, why are you biting? Because even if he does give it there, you're not going to make the play on the whole other side of the field. And so there's literally no reason for you to bite. And then this tight end, I can't remember if it was a tight end or a fullback, but he's wide open with Luigi Villain and Josh Ross in no man's land. And it's just like, that sums it all up, man. You're caught in no man's land after biting on a bad play action fake, and now they have a wide open guy that I think he got it down to like the, 2-yard line or something at that point. But that was the one specific one I remembered, but like there's probably 1,000 other examples of that.
Yeah, and if you're looking at that, at least from my perspective, that's 100% on Don Brown and the coaching, right? Like you're teaching that, you're setting up the plays, you're telling them where they're supposed to be. If Don Brown's not gone by Monday morning, I will be just completely shocked. I mean, it's way past out of control at this point. Just see if there's another young guy that can step up and do something to just try and salvage the season at some point. But I feel like there's no reason to waste your time with Don Brown right now.
Yeah, from the moment the game started, I mean, I think the keys to the game were something like come out fast, score quick, and, get your guys in space, some things like that. And just from the moment the game started, it became very clear that Jim Harbaugh and his coaching staff had absolutely no idea what to do and no response for anything that happened during the game. So, I mean, something needs to change, and it needs to change fast if you want any option to, salvage the season. And then to make matters worse, I think there were something like 20 recruits on campus yesterday, or at the game, whatever.
If you're Donovan Edwards, and I believe he was there as well, because I think he had a game. He scored like 6 touchdowns or something in the first half of his game. Yeah. He's unbelievable. Dude, the dude is in the playoffs, I think, is he West Bloomfield, I believe?
West Bloomfield, yeah.
Yeah, he's just a stud, like a game changer. So if you're there, even if he wasn't there and he's watching on TV or whatever, Hassan Haskins had 1 carry last night. 1 carry. Zach Charbonnet had 3. Corum had 7. So I want to know, like, if you're Josh Gaddis and you're trying to pitch Donovan Edwards, like, what's your pitch? Hey, man, I saw you scored 6 touchdowns tonight in your game. We aren't even going to give you 6 carries at Michigan, so don't plan on scoring that much. Like, I believe that Hassan Haskins is probably the best. He's been the most consistent back for us this year. And even at the end of last year, it was obvious he was the most consistent. He rushes for 8 yards a carry. That's his average this year. He has 21 carries on the season. How many running backs across the country yesterday probably had 21 or more carries in the game? And he has that in 4 games. What's the game plan? Josh Gaddis, what are you doing? There is literally no game plan going into any of these games.
I mean, if I'm Gaddis and I'm trying to pitch Donovan Edwards, I say I'm with you, bro. You gotta put Haskins in. Right now, he's the number 1 guy. He's averaging the most yards per carry, and it's crazy to me that he's not getting more time right there. But also, what I do think he's doing a good job of is getting Corum in the game. He's a freshman. He's playing right away, and I think Corum clearly is the next best guy, if not the number 1 guy, because of his versatility and what we've seen him do on the field. Sorry, Charbonnet. Sorry, Chris Evans. But you got to take a back seat for Haskins and Corum right now, because that's the only way we're going to get more running back recruits, because there's only 2 guys getting carries, and it shows that young guys are able to get in. That's what I would do if I was with Gaddis.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad to see the young guys get in, but I am also, like, constantly scratching my head, like, what the fuck is the game plan? Like, why are we lining up on the goal line on 4th down in the shotgun to run? Like, put him under center and fall.
He's 6'5", 240 fucking pounds, dude.
What a fucking, like, when he was sitting there in the shotgun at 4th and goal, I'm sitting. Everybody at home had to be like, what the fuck is happening? Tom Brady is what, 6'2", 150 pounds,
The
and
most
goes under
unathletic
center,
guy ever.
and every time he gets it. And you can't put the biggest fucking dude at quarterback in college football under center to get this much yardage? I mean, what are you thinking?
And Jim Harbaugh, you're got to be on the sidelines seeing this and go, timeout. Fucking go under center, Joe, and fall. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? This is so ridiculous. I have no idea.
Like, okay, so last week against Indiana, we completely abandoned the run game of Joe Milton, right? I don't think he had any carries, not on scrambles last week versus Indiana. And now this week it was like 4 or 5 times they ran just, Joe Milton QB draw to the right or QB draw to the left. It didn't work any of those times, and they still continue to do it. And I'm like, all right, yes, good job for running the ball with Joe Milton, but let's run a read option like every other fast-paced offense in America. Like, I don't understand with a QB draw works if you have a great offensive line and you have guys blocking in front of you. But at least run a read option where he can read the defensive end and make a play, and you have to like actually put some pressure on the defense. I don't understand. And then as far as the play calling goes, how about just in the second quarter, we're down 21-0, 28-0. I can't even remember what it was. It's 3rd and 8, and they run an off tackle with Blake Corum behind an offensive line that has literally not shown anything. That to me was like, well, we're already down. We're giving up. We're just running the clock out, trying to get out of here, man.
Yeah, I mean, and going back to that, like, I think there was a minute left for a drive. The clock management was fucking awful. You're down 21-0, like you said, and you're not even trying to get points. I think Milton wasted 20, 30 seconds on one fucking play. He tried to run the ball and or he was trying to look downfield, but he was way out of the pocket, could have easily thrown it out of bounds and just stopped the clock, but he lets himself get taken down to keep the clock running. I mean, I think that's on Milton, but still, if you're Harbaugh, I think there was a timeout left. Call a timeout. Give you guys a chance to fucking score.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you guys know more than me here, but doesn't the play caller have like a play sheet that says like 3rd and more than 6 yards, 3rd and long? These are the kinds of plays that we can run, right? Why is that even an option? Why are you running that play if you're 3rd and whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
100%. So you have what a play caller has is essentially a down and distance. Essentially, it's you have if it's 3rd and within 7 to 11 yards, 7 to 12 yards, you can run these plays because it'll get you past the sticks. And so that play should not be on there. It should be on. That play is a 1st and 10, 2nd and 5 type play. So maybe the problem is that Josh Gaddis never called plays before coming to Michigan, and we just gave him the offense. I think and everyone was so pissed at Harbaugh, being a terrible play caller, too conservative, all this stuff. But like, I mean, let's go back to him. I don't know. Let fucking anybody call the play. You and I could call the plays right now. Like,
100%.
Dude, that's what I said. I was like, this game feels like I'm playing NCAA on the like easy difficulty.
I mean, I feel like we gave Gaddis a chance because he came from Alabama, right? He's a season and a half under his belt. If he doesn't do anything or prove anything this year, I think he's gone. I think he's gone. I think he's gone. I think Don Brown's gone. We don't know about Harbaugh. I think he'll probably still be around, but you got to get rid of the coordinators. There needs to be a change. If you want to get anything in recruiting, there has to be some sort of something to show them that, hey, we're trying to change to make things better. And clearly these are two things that have been going wrong, and we're trying to do something to get it going the other direction.
In speaking of the play calling and the play sheets, so how most coaches have a list of plays that they want to start out the game with. So it's like this whole thing, you have your first 15 plays. Last week versus Indiana, they went 3 and out, first 3 drives, and this week it was 2 interceptions to start, right? And so like That's on Gaddis, in my opinion. Obviously, the Joe Milton interception was one of the worst throws of all time.
Ever seen, yeah.
But, like, that's on Gaddis to me. Those are the first 15 plays of your script that you, like, are like these. Those are your go-to plays. We practice these all week. We think that these can definitely work. And in back-to-back weeks, those plays did you so much damage and did not work in the least bit. So, to me, that's on Josh Gaddis.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about we were talking about it right before. Let's talk about some bright spots on the defensive side of the ball at least. The secondary, like you said, Kalen, Vince Gray, and Jamon Green did decent.
Hey, Vince Gray must have been listening to our podcast and listening to everybody going like, "Oh, these guys suck," right? And then he's like, "No, I can do this job," and he kind of stepped up. He made a number of plays. I was happy to see that.
Yeah, same. I mean, we can go back to it too. I think secondary played really well. Just too bad that the D-line and linebackers couldn't be on the same page with them. I mean, it's just one thing hits, another thing misses. Nothing's ever on the same page.
I mean, we knew that the D-line, especially with Quiddy out now, along with Aiden, was going to struggle, right? And actually, I thought Carlo Kemp played decently for just being thrown into a DN spot when he's played in the middle his whole career. He had a sack. He had our first sack in 2.5 games. So, I mean, what else can you ask from the guy? Yeah. They were pretty close. Him and Luigi were like decently close to getting to Graham Mertz a few times. And we knew Wisconsin has always had a good running game. Their offensive line is probably one of the top in the country. But it was like, every single run was an easy 5, 6, 7 yards. Even in the fourth quarter, when Wisconsin had been trying to run the ball out since, halfway through the second quarter, essentially, and everybody in the world knows it's a run, they're still getting 8 yards a pop, easy.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's like, Michigan wasn't even trying to, like, get 8 guys in the box and stop that. It was like, all right, you can do whatever. And like you said with the over pursuit, how many of the speed sweeps it was just so easy. Like you said, Kalen, it looked like they were playing on Madden or NCAA in easy mode.
Yeah, and I mean, credit where it's due too. I honestly loved some of the play calling from Paul Christ. He was moving like the tight end and fullback like around pre-snap. I was kind of like, oh, that's getting a little creative for Wisconsin there. And then with a lot more passing than I think I've seen in the past from their program, they show a lot of promise to me. So I look forward to seeing like Wisconsin maybe playing like in Ohio State in a championship game.
Go Badgers. Big
Go
Badger
Badgers.
fans over here.
Oh, yeah. Jump around.
I think, to your point, Kalen, what Paul Chris was doing on offense is what Jim Harbaugh would love to be. He would love to pound it down your throat like they do, but then also be a little creative with the tight ends and the fullbacks and the speed sweeps and stuff like that. That is what Jim Harbaugh wanted to do, and he wanted Shea Patterson to be Graham Mertz too, where when you do throw the ball, he throws the ball well and can get on the run and does all that stuff. But Michigan's so far from that, it's not even funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as Michigan fans too, you got to understand, right? Wisconsin's never going to beat Ohio State, right? So we can be fine. It sounds good saying like, Michigan could try to run that offense and they could win a number of games with that offense. But as we've seen, you're not going to beat Ohio State, especially not when I have Justin Fields, right? So, I mean,
it's the problem with that offense in the year 2020 is Ohio State scores on like 3 or 4 play drives, right? They just get the ball down the field so quickly. And Wisconsin, in order for them to score, it takes them 6-7 minutes. And that was what you're seeing from in 2016, 17, and 18 from Jim Harbaugh. It goes really well when you're playing ahead and you can take your time and everything like that. But as soon as you get down in any of those games, you're still taking too much time off the clock to come back in any type of fashion.
Right. Yeah. It requires like perfect execution as well, right? There's no room for error.
Right. Exactly. So I mean, let's go. I shouted out on Twitter, to ask some of our followers some questions. What kind of questions they have for us. The first one was, why does this football program just get off on hurting and causing pain to the fans? So I don't know. Is Jim Harbaugh, like, is that his kink? Is he like, this football program, they like love to hurt people and know that we have broken hearts?
It sure as hell feels like it, man. Michigan football needs to start an OnlyFans and get paid for it.
Yeah, suddenly I'm a masochist, right? That's why I root for Michigan.
Yeah,
I was gonna say another good question that was on here, not to cut you guys off, but it says, who gets fired first? Who do you guys got?
has to be Don Brown. I mean, I don't think they're gonna fire anybody until the end of the season, because like, what do you do then? Midway, what do you do without a defensive coordinator?
At least
I guess
it's a change, man. I don't know. It can't get any worse.
You're not wrong, but I still don't think they do it because Michigan doesn't have the nuts to do that. But it has to be Don Brown.
Has to be.
Yeah, I say get rid of them all. I'm like, dude, you could go down the list, right?
Sean Nua,
Get rid
Sean
of
Nua should be
Gaddis, get rid
gone
of Sean
yesterday.
Nua, get rid of Don Brown.
Yeah.
All three of them.
I mean, shit. I brought this on here, right? I don't know if you guys have read this book, Extreme Ownership, by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, right? Chapter 2 of the book is called No Bad Teams, Only Bad Leaders. Okay? This is about how Navy SEALs win in battle. Just a brief excerpt here. When it comes to standards, as a leader, it's not what you preach, it's what you tolerate. When setting expectations, no matter what has been said or written, if substandard performance is accepted and no one is held accountable, if there are no consequences, that poor performance becomes the new standard. Thus, Jim Harbaugh has accepted mediocrity as the standard for Michigan football. So, until we get rid of Jim Harbaugh, this is what you're going to see.
I mean, we saw Urban Meyer talk about it. What was it?
Yeah.
Big Noon Kickoff? He had a whole spiel. He was like, there's three things. And if you set a certain standard and or set a certain expectation and you're not meeting that in practice and training and all this stuff, and you're allowing it to be lower than what your goals are, then that's a problem. And that's why you end up 1-3. I mean, I'm with you. I don't want to put it all on Harbaugh because it's clearly, I mean, yes, he is the leader of the program and ultimately it falls on him. But man, I mean, Don Brown, Josh Gaddis, Sean Nua, all those guys, I mean, they can't be ignored there either.
Yeah. Well, he hired them, right?
True.
These are guys he put in positions to succeed. And he evidently didn't make it clear to them what the standards were that they need to hold their employees to, or, their players to. Yeah. So, starts from the top.
So your point for the standards, that was very apparent to me when I believe it was in 2018 when Michigan got housed by Ohio State at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. But they were technically like co-Big Ten East champions, right? And I'm pretty sure Jim Harbaugh gave all the players shirts that said co-Big Ten East champions after they got beat by 30 against Ohio State.
Nick Saban would never do that. Never.
Urban Meyer
would.
Like, no fucking chance, dude.
He'd buy the shirts, throw them on the field, and then burn them in the middle of the field and say, you guys don't fucking deserve to be here.
Exactly. So, like, to me, that right there is setting the standard. Like, we're proud of getting the shit kicked out of us by our rival for the 7th year in a row, and not making the Big Ten championship. We're proud of 10-2. And 10-2, great. It's a great record. But if that's your standard, if that's an accomplishment, then that's not good. No Michigan fan is ever going to say, yes, it was a great year. We got beat by 30 by Ohio State. That's never going to be the case. And so, like, I think 10-3, 10-2, yeah, that's good. It's a great measurement. But when you still end up at the end of the year not in a championship, not even in a position to play for a championship, then that is not an accomplishment. And so that's the standard that has been set now, is that 9-3, 10-3, those are our best years. And anything less than that is, that's like when you start. That's when Jim Harbaugh is like, oh yeah, we had a tough year. We went 8-4 instead of 9-3. I don't know.
Yeah. In the press conference after the game, I guess he was saying, like, we need to reevaluate everything, like every facet of this program. Yeah. I hope
No
that's the kind of thing he's reevaluating, right? What standard am I setting for my coaches? What standard are those coaches setting for the players? Because evidently that bar needs to be raised way higher.
Mm-hmm.
To me, a lot of it is just seeing that these players couldn't give two shits about playing for the coaches. I watched Wisconsin I was watching Tom Allen yesterday, Indiana's head coach versus Michigan State. These guys are obviously, they had a good game and they're rolling, top 10 team in the nation, 4-0, all this stuff. But though he's like hugging his guys, he's, jumping up, going crazy. It looks like those players love to play for him. And they're there and they're like, this is our leader. We believe in what he's doing. I don't think even in 2018, I'm not sure that everyone's believing in what Jim Harbaugh is selling as far as the players go. And so I want to see a player's coach out there sometime. I look at Juwan Howard, and I know that every single one of those guys loves him. He's like one of the boys. Like on a Saturday night, they're probably hanging out with Juwan Howard at the crib, like playing NCAA, playing, Fortnite, whatever they're doing. And like, it's just the disconnect there from Jim Harbaugh to his players is so apparent. And that's what's more concerning than just like talent development and all that stuff. Because you can be a great X's and O's guy, which I still believe Jim Harbaugh is. He has shown that he knows how to play the game of football. But it's when you're not getting the best out of your players, that's where it's the bigger problem, especially at the college level when it's 18 to 22-year-old guys. In the NFL, those guys are responsible for themselves. Those players are responsible for themselves. And you're trying to, put them in an X's and O's position to win. But at the college level with these younger guys, you have to mold their minds and have them play for you. And I want a player's coach. So fuck it, Jim Harbaugh, you're out in my mind. We need to go find somebody out there who's gonna have their guys playing for them.
And I think something where, and I'm still not on the get Harbaugh out of town. I think there can be smaller changes made where he can regain the trust of his team and all that shit. So let me put you guys in a scenario. Let's say, if I was a player on that defense and we're continuing to get burned every game and, feeling like we're not being set up for success with the plays that we're running or what it may be. If my head coach was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm sick of seeing you guys taking all this shit, not being able to produce because of you're not being set up for success. I'm getting rid of this fucking defensive coordinator and we're going to bring somebody else in to help you guys out. I'd be like, hell yeah, let's go. I can rally back around this coach and let's put some faith in some other guy. There's things that can happen this season to get these guys, feeling good again and get some sort of momentum. And the recruits too. And the recruits, 100%. Even watching the game last night, if that would have been Milton who went on a drive that Cade McNamara had, where he had those 4 beautiful passes to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, did you see how hyped those players got around him?
Yeah.
And Mikey Samer still? If Milton did it, I think they'd be glad they scored, but you don't see that level of excitement. The momentum was there. The momentum was there to get guys feeling like they're going in the right direction. They still could have lost that game. But if you're pushing a little bit and make a little bit of moves, it's almost like that Penn State second half we saw last year. Momentum's being gained and changes are happening, and you can feel good going into the next week. So I think there's little changes that can be made. I think moving forward, McNamara is going to be the starter, and I think if you get rid of Don Brown, I think that brings a little bit more of, hey, we can gain some momentum here. At least the guys can feel good about going out to play and not feeling like, oh shit, well, let's get shit on again, and just have a shitty fucking week. I think there's little things that can happen that can get this program feeling good again, to get the fan base feeling good again, and then start looking towards 2021.
That's a great point, actually, Jack, because after that Cade McNamara drive, the defense was a little bit more fired up, and they even came out playing just better.
Everything
all
was
around.
great, and then we fucking run into the kicker, and then it's like,
don't even get me started on running into the kicker. That is
what
the
are you
biggest
doing? You're down fucking 30 points. And
I see that side of it too. Yes, yeah. I mean, there was momentum. Like, okay, I'm with you, and I'm going to go with your point here. Offense had momentum. Defense stopped them. Don't even fucking go for the block. Just play punt return safe. Just like don't let them get a first down. Get them off the field. Let the offense keep rolling. But I'm going to go off on this running into the kicker penalty for a fucking second. If a quarterback is in the action of throwing a ball, even after he releases it, a lineman or whoever can still hit him. You're telling me a kicker can't get fucking hit when he's still up in the air after kicking the ball? It's the biggest joke of a call and a joke of a penalty of a rule I've ever seen. This is fucking football. This is football.
They're kickers, bro.
I don't care. They're football players. If they can't get hit, take them out of the fucking game. I don't care. I literally couldn't. Like, that makes me so fucking mad.
I'm
not going to disagree with you.
I don't disagree either. It's
like roughing the kicker. I get it. Keep it. It's a different penalty, right? But running into the kicker, you're basically saying don't block the ball.
Yeah, you should really just dress up the kicker in a big dress.
Yeah, why even put pads on him if he can't get fucking hit?
I agree, because it really is the only shot for you to block it is to have a perfect thing where you get in front of the ball and hit the ball and then hit him. Because if you're blocking a punt, you're almost always going to hit the kicker after, right?
100%.
And so you have to touch the ball, otherwise you're going to run into him. But I understand, like, okay, you had a touchdown, you're trying to make a play if you're like going for it. Obviously if they block that, it's like a big momentum thing, but you just got them off. Like, nothing has gone right for you all game. And so you finally get this Wisconsin team off the field after they've fucking scored 38 straight points, whatever they did. And like, you have a quarterback that just went 4 for 4, drove them down, threw beautiful passes. Like, get some momentum. Like, be smart a little bit from this coaching staff. It blows my mind, man. Like, you're overthinking these things. It's the same thing with running a fucking shotgun on the 6-inch line. It's the same thing with running a wildcat formation and having Hassan Haskins throw the ball on the goal line, 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. You're overthinking. Just play fucking football.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kalen.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like that comes back to coaching a little bit, right? Because the 100%. Special teams coordinator is Jay Harbaugh, who, I'm sorry, I've actually heard some good things about Jay Harbaugh as a running backs coach, and he has had a lot of success recruiting, right? Zach Charbonnet and Blake Corum. But as far as I know, Jay Harbaugh never played football. And what, will you just learn through osmosis and become a great coach?
He would not have a job if his last name wasn't Harbaugh. Right. Let's be honest.
This is nepotism. Get out of there and hire a real coach.
And with this too, I mean, football's a team fucking game, right? If you're the special teams coordinator, it seems like they're like, you know what, guys, this is our time. Let's go fucking like make a big play. It's like, no, hey guys, let's set up the offense. Just had a huge drive last drive with Cade, got a whole lot of momentum. Defense made a fucking 3-and-out. I think the only one all game. Let's have a good punt return. Don't even go for the block. Don't need any penalties. Let's get the ball and let the offense do their thing, right? I mean, what a fucking I'm 100% with you guys. What a fucking joke. Terrible play call. You're not setting the team up for success there.
And like you said, I think you said this earlier, Kalen, but why is Jim Harbaugh not hearing that on his headset? Yes, we're going for the punt block, and saying, no, we're not.
Yeah.
No, we're fucking not. Same thing with running Joe Milton in the shotgun on the 6-inch line. If he hears Josh Gaddis call that play, why does he not jump in and say, hey, let's run it under fucking center, dude? I mean, it comes back to me, like, every single thing comes back to Harbaugh for me. And I, like you said, Jack, I hate to shit on him for everything because you can only control so much. But, like, there's these things where if you're the head coach, you make the final decision. And if you're setting yourself – there were so many times where, like, Michigan would make a mistake or things would go wrong, and the camera would pan to Jim Harbaugh. And he's just like looking up at the scoreboard, looking around, like with no like. He's like, "Oh, that was weird. That didn't work, huh?" I'm just like, dude, what are you? Where's your head? I can't even get the words out. I'm like speechless here because he just looks so lost, and I'm like, you're a good football coach. You know what's going on. You've done this before. How many times? Why can't you put this together?
Sorry, questions, no answers.
I'm not even like asking questions. I'm like ready to break shit. Like
I have no answers either.
I want to say I'm so numb to all of this, and I am at times, and then like I start thinking about it, and I'm just like, dude, I just want to fucking punch my wall right now.
Well, let's bring it back to some positives here. Bright spot number 2. What do you guys think about Cade McNamara?
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. He came out there. He threw like 4 dimes, like you said. I mean,
he didn't do as well in the second
drive.
Yeah. But the thing that I noticed more than anything was his confidence on these throws. It's not like he had huge windows. He was like, you know what? I'm going to trust that receiver. I trust my arm that I can get it in the right spot, and they'll be able to make a play. And it happened 4 fucking straight times.
That was the thing too, right? He gave the receivers an opportunity to make a play.
Yep.
Love to see that.
100%.
But didn't you see the same thing from Joe Milton in week 1? He had so much you didn't see that confidence?
Oh, confidence-wise. Yeah.
I mean, in one like that, being able to throw a deep ball and fucking get it. I mean,
well, that's dude. How many deep balls is he gonna overthrow, man? Like, fuck, man. Blake Corum's wide fucking open. I was telling Kalen before we got on, I could have thrown that ball I couldn't do it, but Milton could have thrown that ball a mile fucking high, let it sit up there for 10 seconds, and Corum could have sat in the end zone with nobody around him and still fucking caught it. Like, just set your receiver up to be able to catch the fucking ball, man. And that's on him. That is 100% on him.
Dude, I put a lot of that on the coaching staff.
How?
Because
it's throwing a football.
Here you go. Joe Milton, out of high school, his completion percentage is 47.4% in high school. So you knew you were getting a guy who was super inaccurate. But you said, I am a great football coach. I can make this guy accurate. You can make guys accurate.
It's not even a tough throw, though. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
I mean, literally, he could have fucking kicked the ball if he wanted it to and done better. I mean, he could have thrown it left-handed. It was wide open.
I agree with Jack here, dude. Like, the coaching staff set that play up perfectly. Right? Like, what more can you ask for?
I'm not going to excuse his mistake on the field, but I'm saying that how can you have this guy who we already knew he was inaccurate, right? How did you – and you mean to tell me you spent 2 years working on accuracy with this guy, and then you said his accuracy has improved so much, sorry, Dylan McCaffrey, you're going to not start. And then you put this guy in, and this is what we get? I'm just like – what have you been doing for 2 years?
I agree with that take. I agree with that.
I was going to say, to that point, I'm with you. If that's the case, and they're like, well, shit, his accuracy still is a problem. McCaffrey should have been the guy, or McNamara should have been the guy, right? I mean,
that makes no sense.
Yeah.
My question: how bad was Dylan McCaffrey if he wasn't going to win the starting job here?
Right. I don't even think it had to have been some sort of favoritism, man. I don't know what it is, because we've seen McCaffrey. We saw him enough to know what we we're going to get out of him. And it was much better than what we saw what we saw the first 3 games out of Milton. And again, I love the guy. I think he's super talented, but he just doesn't, there's something missing. And McCaffrey, I think Michigan would have been a better team under McCaffrey right now.
How have you
100%.
not been working on accuracy like hardcore
Literally every day
for 2 years? People work on accuracy all the time. Pitchers, QBs, people shooting rifles and arrows. You can improve your accuracy. How you mean to tell me that this Joe Milton is that much better than Joe Milton as a freshman?
We're not even asking him to
What?
throw a dime there. That's got to be the easiest pass ever, man. It's how many times have you all thrown that pass in the backyard? Like,
We're not asking him to throw it into a bucket. We're asking him to throw it into a big ass fucking swimming pool.
exactly.
I'm just like
And he
the
couldn't do it.
inability to put touch on the ball downfield. It's inexcusable to me.
And that's
And
why Cade has to be the number 1 guy moving forward in my
Yeah.
head.
Dan Villari season, baby.
Hey, my boy.
Dude, if
He got
we
some camera time.
If we somehow see, he did get some camera time. if we somehow see like Dan Villari getting a real PT this year, I'm gonna go fucking nuts.
I'm gonna go nuts, dude.
I think we're not far away, man. We really are.
We're really not.
First rounder.
How would you like? It's so unexplainable. Like thinking back to those podcasts when we were talking about him, like obviously joking and sarcastic, and now we're like actually here where he's like one play away from actually being the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, you think they'd put Joe back in if Cade got hurt? Legitimately, do you think?
I don't know, but fuck it. Why not just throw whoever out? At this point, if I'm the coaching staff, you have to just be like, every single position is up for grabs.
100%.
If you don't show out this week in practice, you're done. I'm sitting you. I'll play any fucking freshman that has never touched the field before and just see what happens. Because what do you have to lose? It's fucking Rutgers. We're probably gonna be like favored to lose.
I was gonna send out a tweet this morning, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. But I mean, do you think Rutgers might be favored next week? I mean, these are 2 bad teams, right? Like,
so they were playing really well, but they lost to Illinois this week.
I know, yeah.
It's god awful.
Yeah.
So if they would have came out and beat Illinois like I thought they would, then yes, I do think it would either be like Michigan minus like 2 or 3 or something, or Rutgers like I don't know. Dude, that's gonna be so embarrassing. That line coming out, if Rutgers is favored.
I mean, it'll be a single-digit line no matter which way it goes. That's the crazy thing. Who would have thought that?
Who would have thought? And the worst part is that game is fucking 7:30 again. We're on prime time again for that game. We can't even like get a noon game where people
just get it over with.
Yeah, just get it over with. Like, oh my god, it's so brutal. I got a good question because we're now we're ranting.
Just rambling, yeah.
90% which is whatever. But why does Rick 3745 on Twitter asked us, why does there seem to be no consequences for mistakes made on the field? Drops, penalties, etc. Play guys that want to be out there and play smart. Do you agree with that, and do you have a response?
I mean, I think it goes back to what Kalen said earlier, right? It's holding your team accountable. Hold the guys accountable. If you're not holding the guys accountable, then they're just going to continue to make mistakes and know that they're going to play. It's a fucking joke. It's something. Like I said, I don't want to put it all on Harbaugh, but ultimately it comes down to him. It starts at the top. If you don't have leadership and you don't have somebody holding you accountable, nothing's going to change.
Yeah. I mean, I 100% agree with you. I mean, maybe there's like 1 or 2 examples where like, Eric All dropped something and then they put in Eubanks, but I mean, I don't know.
But then Eubanks drops it. So I understand that part where they're like, okay, we can put in other guys, but they're all gonna suck. Like they're probably feeling pretty fucking helpless at this point. But also like I go back, and this may have been a myth, but like growing up when Michigan had Jason Avant, Mario Manningham, Braylon Edwards, like those stud receivers, the whole, I remember people saying like at Michigan in practice, if you drop a ball, you have to like run a mile or something like that. Maybe it was a myth, but that was the standard. Like that was the case. The accountability of Lloyd Carr and Bo Schembechler and all the, Gary Moeller. Like it was to that level where like if you drop the football, then you're running and you will be taken out. If you have a false start on the offensive line, pulled immediately. And you will get a new guy in there, and you can come back the next series after you sit down and think about what you did. And
even if, and to that point, even if you don't have depth, then whatever, put him on the sideline. Who cares? This is what you just did to your team, and I want you to watch it.
Exactly. You watch that next guy come in there, get absolutely blown up, and a sack comes, and and seriously, I'll take that sack so that you know that what you just did is unacceptable.
You're fucking your team. Yep.
Yeah.
Not acceptable.
And so when this shit, like last week against Indiana, not once did any of those guys that jumped off sides get benched. None. There's no consequences. It's pat on the back, do better next time, buddy. And we're to that point where it's just like fucking, like I don't want to be this guy, but like it's like participation trophies. It's like the snowflakes. It's like I mean, doesn't it seem that way though? Like it's like
it is, 100%.
We're just happy to be out there, and if things don't go our way, we'll, there's a game next week and we'll try and do better. Instead of just not being accountable and saying, guys, this is unacceptable what's happening right now.
And that's something too. I mean, college football, it's not that type of game. You can't just let things slide like that. You lose one game, you're out of the playoff picture. Pretty much. Especially in the Big Ten, and if you can't beat Ohio State. In the NFL, it's a little bit different. And at least they're getting on their guys. But there's 16 teams going to the playoff. And they're out of 32 teams. I mean, you can be middle of the road and make the fucking playoff in the NFL. In college, you got to be a top 4 team. You can't let shit like that slide. And if you do, it's just going to continue to grow and fester and not just get taken care of. And then that's how you end up in this position, man. Accountability. I mean, you guys nailed it on the head, man. That's the biggest thing that needs to be taken care of.
Yeah, I was laughing because I was telling Steph earlier, I feel like this season I've been going through the 7 stages of grief, right? Like we lost to MSU and I was like in denial, like this can't happen. And then we lost to Indiana and I'm like guilty, like what did we do? What did I do? Right? And now we've just had this debacle against Wisconsin and I'm just angry. I'm like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
It's really funny that you say that because last night Jacqueline texted me at 8:17, so it was probably like the second quarter or something. And she said, "Hi, are you doing okay?" And I said, "I'm fine. I don't care anymore." She said, "That's the 5th phase of depression." So yeah, we're all in the same boat, dude. It's like it's brutal. And you know what's frustrating to me is hearing Joel Klatt and Kirk Herbstreit last night that are just like dumbfounded. They don't have the answers. Nobody understands. Like obviously we don't have the answers. I recorded with Spath this morning. He doesn't have the answers. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on. And that's like, if there was like a couple things you could pinpoint and be like, I think that, if we improve this, Michigan could be in a position to win a bunch of football games. I'd be like, all right, I can deal with that. Let's make a few changes. At this point, you just have to blow the whole thing up because nobody fucking has a clue what's going on.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to Urban Meyer's kind of rant, he said there's not, and he said about the coaches as well. He's like, there's no bad coaches and there's no bad players. Either there's a lack of trust, a lack of accountability, or something else. I mean, these are good players, guys. They're good athletes. They came to Michigan for a reason, and they got that opportunity for a reason. Get rid of the coach. I'm sorry, Don Brown. I mean, you're still a good coach, but you're not doing it well at Michigan. And let somebody else get in there. There's still athletes on the field, and they can make plays, but something's got to change.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You have like. I'm so scared that no changes are going to be made, though. Aren't you?
The sad thing The sad thing is that now I actually have a little bit of hope for at least Rutgers because I think McNamara is going to get the start and he's going to get an opportunity. And he showed some talent last night. So that's the thing that's sad for me is I still have hope. So I'm ready to be hurt again.
Did you guys?
That's the worst part.
Did you
You're
guys?
a fucking moron.
I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I'm just waiting for Dan Villar to get in, man. Start that Heisman campaign.
Oh man, did you guys feel like Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler were just like at a roast?
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
Bro, I'm gonna make that our new logo for Blue by 90. Just right there.
At Michigan.
Dude, they were just talking so much shit. I felt like when the cameraman zoomed in on the kid doing the surrender cobra,
Yeah.
I was like, why do we even put that in here, man? Come on.
I couldn't agree more. Like that.
I mean, how did they allow that in the stadium?
I've been talking to Jacqueline. It's her fault, obviously. 100% her fault. Apparently somebody bought it. I'm like, you can say no,
Yeah.
You can say no.
Yeah, it's not like I can send a dick pic in and fucking like pay $75 and get it on the camera. They're gonna be like, sorry, we can't allow this in here,
Exactly.
Oh,
Like,
man.
bro, at that point, you're roasting yourself. You're setting yourself up for the jokes.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, Herbstreit and Fowler last night were just like, in the second half, it was just like, everybody, look how bad Michigan is. Like,
Dude, they were running out of shit to talk about. They were just going like, look at Kyle Trask at Florida. It's like, oh yeah, all right.
yeah,
Oh,
I
man.
mean, they had no. Again, Herbstreit was just like, I can't believe this is Michigan, and we're in Michigan Stadium right now watching this team. And so, let's end it with this. Well, actually, I have two things. First of all, tell me how, and this we're gonna just keep ranting, I guess, about the coaching staff and about the preparation. But like, tell me how Wisconsin, who hasn't fucking practiced in however many weeks, Graham Mertz didn't even know what he was playing, all this stuff, and they haven't played since what's the date? Probably like October 17th. I
Is
think
that opening weekend? Whatever opening weekend was, 24th. October 24th.
24th?
No, 23rd, because they played on a Friday.
That's right. They have not played since October 23rd, and they still came out so crisp, like they had been like just rolling, and Michigan looked like they hadn't played since last year. How
Culture, man.
does that happen when it's actually the opposite?
Culture. Program culture. I've said 100%.
Nobody fucking wanted to be there on Michigan's team last night.
Nope.
Nobody.
I didn't want to watch it.
I don't blame them. Like, I don't blame you. I would. Oh, fuck, man. All right, so I'll end it with this question because I saw this on Twitter last night, and I think it's a crazy question, but it's very valid. If Jim Harbaugh is gone at the end of this year, does he leave Michigan's program in a better spot than when he got here?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, at least there was some resemblance of winning, right? I mean, he won. He averaged, 9, 10 wins a year? Better than fucking 5.
That is a great question, honestly, because I think it is easy to get caught up in like recent, mediocrity this year, but Jack's 100% right. I mean, we have at least been semi-competitive on a national level, right? I mean, we've been in the top 15, we've been in the top 3 since Harbaugh's been here. So I think he's leaving it in a better place than where it was when he arrived.
And also, when we look at coaching changes, at least the last 2, Brady Hoke's first year, clearly there needed to be a culture change from Rich Rod to Brady Hoke. The team goes 11-2 and wins a BCS bowl game. Harbaugh's first year, Brady Hoke must have been burnt out, something wasn't working. Culture change. They get 10 wins and win a bowl game. Maybe it's the same thing. I mean, and at least there's the talent levels at a better place than when I think. Or probably pretty similar to when Harbaugh got there, just based off of some of the recruits that Hoke got.
Good ass talent.
Yeah, he had some good talent. So, I mean, it could be a thing where it's like a culture change. You bring in the right guy, get the team motivated, get the team built around him, and they have a good year next year. Maybe that's all it takes.
I I think I agree with you guys. I think he does leave it in a better spot, but like the fact that we're even asking that question is fucking wild, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking wild. Cuz I mean, he's paid like I hate to keep going back to like how much he's paid, but like he's paid $7 million a year, $8 million a year, whatever. Like the whole point, he was a home run hire.
Yeah.
He was the guy.
Mm-hmm.
There was no better hire, and I still believe that at the time. Like it's not like they shouldn't have hired him, because it still was the most obvious choice ever, and they should have paid him what he did, and it just hasn't worked out. But like it's just the fact that we're gonna compare Jim Harbaugh in year 6 in 2020 to Brady Hoke in year 5 is like the fact that the comparison's even close is fucking wild.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Do you want to leave it at that? I'm fucking depressed. Basketball season starts in 2 weeks or something. So
God, I can't fucking wait.
We're a
for that.
basketball school. You know what?
Basketball school, the football problem.
Yeah.
Number one class.
Number one class in the country. Hockey just won 8-1 yesterday, and they play Arizona State again tonight. So we're a hockey school too.
Yeah,
So.
we're gonna have to get some hockey people on here. Bring the morale up around this podcast.
Oh yeah. Let's talk. Should we just like start talking about like our hobbies or like favorite movies?
I could always use some good movie recommendations.
Yeah, I need to talk about something else. Otherwise, I'm gonna kill myself.
Jeez. All right.
Sorry, that's a good way to end it here. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna actually hang myself, I promise, guys. So
That's how he's gonna do it too. Holy crap.
I've already got it planned out.
Dude, it's only 10:30 in the morning. This is way too early to be
I know.
going that dark.
Sitting here with a headache, and it's like half from the beer last night and half from just talking about Michigan football and thinking about it. So the sun came up. It's Sunday. It's like the shittiest day ever out too, which is just like everything just keeps coming up us. Everything is just like pouring down on us. So follow us at Blue by 90 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, at Blue by 90 podcast on YouTube, and we'll have some other guests hopefully here coming up and we'll try and liven it up a little bit. We can pivot here and fuck Michigan football. We can just like figure out how to be entertaining on here because I feel like we're pretty funny sometimes.
I just like pictured when you said pivot, just like Ross in Friends. Pivot.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Oh Lord.
I will figure out our podcast before Michigan football figures out how to win a fucking football game. So.
Ooh. Hot take.
So yeah, let's go with the 0 to 90. Kaylin, you want to start us off or do you want to end it?
I mean, I'll go first if you want. Like
right.
I said, flaming hot.
Love it. All right. Kaylin, your 0 to 90 starts now.
All right. Cradle of quarterbacks. Ohio State. Justin Fields. Dwayne Haskins. Joe Burrow, right? We know that they can develop quarterbacks even if you're not even starting. So Joe Milton didn't work out at Michigan. Transfer to Ohio State. Even if you don't start, they will teach you to be a good quarterback. And then you can wait in the wings for your chance to start, come out and beat Michigan by 1,000.
That's not even a hot take. That's just correct.
Facts.
Just big facts there.
Big facts. Facts no printer. Like, I mean, if you're JJ McCarthy, what the fuck are you thinking right now? Like, if I'm him, I'm like, hey, mom, dad, I don't think I should go to Michigan because they literally suck so bad and they've never had a good quarterback.
I mean,
Chad fucking Henne.
I think JJ McCarthy legitimately believes he can be the savior of Michigan football. I think it's a legitimate belief that he has.
Maybe
Otherwise, why would he be coming?
Maybe that's the level of positivity we need. I have no idea.
So true. Like, if Donovan Edwards has that same thought, that'd be fucking sick.
Yeah.
So, I agree. All right, Jack, you ready? You got something for us?
Sure. I'll throw something together. Yeah. Let's get it rolling.
All right. Jack, your 0 to 90 starts now.
I don't know if this is as much of a hot take or if it's just facts, but somebody needs to be gone before next game. Somebody needs to be gone tomorrow fucking morning to give this team some sort of hope for the remainder of the season.
I agree. How do you not? How do you walk into next week and say everybody in this building gives us the best chance to win a football game on Saturday?
I mean, I don't
can't
even
say
have
that.
confidence we can beat Rutgers. How is the team going to have confidence they can even beat a fucking Rutgers team if nothing changes? can't.
You can't. You can't. So
All right, here's the real challenge, Ro. Your 0 to 90 has to be happy.
Oof. Good luck.
Doesn't have to be. I don't care. You could just sign off and kick us all out if you want.
just end the podcast right there. Your 0 to 90 starts now. Click.
Oh man.
I got nothing fucking positive. I'm literally trying to wrap my brain and think of something. I got nothing. I mean, I can talk about basketball. So, all right, go for it.
All right, Ro, your 0 to 90 starts now.
All right, basketball. Actually, I'll talk positive about basketball because basketball's in a position where they are not expected to be very good by a lot of people out there, like ESPN and everybody else. They have them like ranked 5th or 6th in the Big Ten. So basketball has the chance to exceed expectations, which is something we've never seen the football team do before. So there's a chance where going into the season, people are very excited about Michigan basketball, but the expectations are kind of like middle of the pack still. So if Franz Wagner he's 6'10" now. He literally grew 2 inches at 19 years old. He grew 2 inches, which is, I don't know how that works, like with the human body and anatomy, but it's pretty cool. So if he's as good as advertised, where he's actually better than Isaiah Livers, and you can't stop me from talking. I'm gonna go past like 90 seconds, whatever here.
Please God.
If they're as good as advertised, if Hunter Dickinson's a stud, like they have a chance to exceed expectations and actually compete in a league where every single the Big Ten champ is probably going to have like 4 or 5 losses on the year in the Big Ten. Everyone's going to beat up on each other. So they got a chance to come out and surprise people. And it would be sick if they did. So I'm at this point, the basketball team has to, I don't want to put it all on them, but like for us to be happy about Michigan athletics at all, this basketball team has a lot of pressure on them. So, but I think that they can do it.
I think in recent memory they've always exceeded expectations. So I'm with that. I love the positivity. Got me feeling good at the end of this episode.
Love it. Things are looking up for Michigan here.
Nowhere to go.
You can follow us. I already said it. Follow us at least on Twitter. Like I promise you, it'll be funny. You know,
oh yeah.
It's not going to be it'll be depressing a little bit because I'll just call out like how the stats that are so bad and probably some film on there on my own Twitter and Blue by 92. But like we'll at least make memes and GIFs and stuff like that. So you can follow us on there. That'll be fun. So, all right. We'll talk to you later this week. I think we'll try to have a guest or something on. We'll try to do something different and have some fun. So see you guys all next week. Are we saying
season?
Cade
season.
Dan Villari season.
Go Blue.
That's right.
Luke Fickle season. Matt Campbell season. Urban Meyer season.